On November 30th, just outside Sydney, two RV-7 sport aircraft collided in mid-air during what should have been a normal formation flight between friends. Right now, investigators have not released any findings, but we do know enough about the flight, the environment, and the aircraft involved to build a responsible, fact-based early analysis of what might have contributed to this accident. So let's see if they can tell us what happened. The accident took place around 11:50 a.m. at Wedderburn Airport, a small recreational airfield located in Sydney's southwest. Four Vans RV-7 aircraft were finishing a local formation flight and beginning to rejoin the area to land. These airplanes, lightweight, two-seat experimental aircraft, are very popular in home-built and sport flying communities across Australia, the US, and Europe. They're also commonly used for formation flights because of their agility and responsive handling. As the four-ship formation approached Wedderburn, two of the aircraft Victor Hotel Echo Whiskey Sierra and Victor Hotel November Mike Golf made contact. Witnesses described hearing a loud bang, followed by Whiskey Sierra descending rapidly into bushland just off the field. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but the pilot of Whiskey Sierra, identified as respected aerobatic and formation leader Eddie Seve, did not survive. The second airplane, Mike Golf, remained controllable despite visible damage. Its pilot, Ollie Garrity, was able to land safely back on the runway. Police secured both the wreck site and the landing area. Fire crews and paramedics worked alongside them, and the Australian Transport Safety Bureau began assembling a team of investigators to collect evidence. Because this was a four-aircraft formation flight, the operational environment is a key part of understanding any potential contributing factors. Formation flying is a highly disciplined activity. Pilots must fly close together, maintain constant visual contact, anticipate even small changes in speed or attitude, and follow a pre-briefed plan for every stage of the flight. The group involved on November 30th was not inexperienced. In fact, they were considered one of Australia's best-known civilian formation groups. Eddie Seve, who flew Whiskey Sierra, was a leader and mentor in the formation and aerobatics community. These pilots trained together regularly and were familiar with each other's habits and flying styles, so this wasn't a case of strangers sharing the same airspace. Even so, formation flying compresses margins significantly. A slight bump of turbulence, a momentary misjudgment in closure rate, or a late maneuver during the brake to land can quickly affect spacing. Witnesses described the air as pretty choppy that morning. If turbulence was present, it could have subtly pushed aircraft closer or caused one airplane to drift relative to another. Witnesses also mentioned that one aircraft pulled away during the approach, with another following. That moment aligns with when the collision occurred. None of this tells us the cause, but it sets the stage for the technical questions investigators will need to answer when determining the real reason behind this mid-air impact. To understand the real reason behind this accident, we need to look at the areas investigators typically examine in a mid-air collision. The first major area of focus will be the wreckage and damage signatures. The investigators will carefully examine Whiskey Sierra's wreckage and the surviving aircraft, Mike Golf, to map impact deformities, scrape marks, and structural failures. These details reveal the relative positions of both airplanes at the moment of contact and help reconstruct whether one aircraft overtook, crossed, or maneuvered into the other's path. From there, investigators will look at the operational briefing. Formation flights depend heavily on pre-flight planning. The ATSB will review what was briefed regarding the landing brake, who led the formation, and how each pilot was supposed to maneuver during the descent to Wedderburn. If any pilot deviated from the brief, or if the maneuvering unfolded differently than expected, investigators will document that, though it won't necessarily indicate fault, just sequence. Weather will also be examined closely. If turbulence was present, investigators will look at its intensity and effect on small, lightweight aircraft flying closely together. They will pull official wind reports, thermal activity, and mechanical turbulence data related to the terrain around Wedderburn. At this point, the characteristics of the Vans RV-7 aircraft become highly relevant. These traits make it excellent for formation flying, aerobatics, and sport performance, but they also mean the airplane reacts quickly to control inputs and turbulence. A small pitch or roll change can create noticeable movement relative to another aircraft in close proximity. The bubble canopy design provides excellent forward visibility, but depending on the angle of bank or sun position, certain sightlines can still be limited. The airplane's lightweight also makes it more susceptible to being bumped around by gusts, thermals, and wake turbulence. Additionally, as an experimental category aircraft, it does not carry a flight data recorder or cockpit voice recorder, and it may or may not have third-party avionics logging or cockpit cameras installed. All of this makes physical reconstruction and witness accounts even more important when understanding how spacing might have shifted during the approach phase. This doesn't mean the aircraft type caused the accident, but its characteristics will absolutely shape the technical analysis. Investigators will also gather all available recorded data. While RV-7 don't carry black boxes, ATSB traces, GPS logs, or cockpit cameras, if present, can offer important clues. Video from witnesses on the ground may also help identify aircraft positions and closure rates. The final major area of focus will be human factors. Formation flying requires a high cognitive workload, managing your own aircraft, keeping visual reference on the lead or wingman, maintaining spacing, coordinating radios, planning approach speeds, and handling turbulence. Investigators will consider whether workload, expectation bias, distraction, visibility limitations, or momentary loss of visual contact played a role. These considerations are not about blame, they're about understanding the chain of events that led up to the impact. This accident has attracted international attention, partly because it happened only months after a similar mid-air collision in Colorado, where an extra 300 aerobatic aircraft collided with a Cessna 172 during a landing sequence at a non-towered airport. While the two situations are different in important ways, both accidents occurred in visual conditions, involved multiple aircraft converging on the same airspace, and happened during high workload phases of flight. Mid-air collisions in general aviation often come from a combination of factors rather than a single obvious mistake. Formation flying adds another layer of complexity because aircraft are intentionally flown close together. When something unexpected happens, like turbulence, a miscommunication, or a loss of visual reference, the margin for recovery is extremely small. That is why disciplined briefings, predictable maneuvers, stable spacing, and clear communication are so critical. For the Australian aviation community, the loss of Eddie Seve was especially difficult. He was widely respected not only for his flying skill, but for his mentorship and commitment to building formation flying skills among younger pilots. At this point, the confirmed facts are limited but clear. 2 RV-7 aircraft in a 4-ship formation collided. 1 crashed, 1 landed safely. Weather included some turbulence. The pilots were experienced and well-trained. Investigators are gathering evidence, but no conclusions have been released. We still don't know the exact closure geometry, the precise sequence of the landing brake, whether visual contact was lost, how turbulence affected the aircraft, or whether any small deviation in formation spacing was a factor. These are all questions investigators will answer. The ATSB's preliminary report will provide the first factual timeline in the coming months. The final report, where the true explanation, the real reason, will appear, may take a year or more. Until then, the only responsible approach is to stay grounded in what's confirmed. If you'd like to see a follow-up when the ATSB releases new information, consider subscribing. And if you have respectful insights, especially if you've flown formation or RV aircraft, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.